welcome. Is this mic on? Yes, I believe it is. As we're in for a treat, you're in for a treat. We're all in for a treat, as this is another Flirtini, where in this one today, we're going to be talking about why am I holding the microphone? Weird. Put your hands down, Benjamin, as we talk about all things dating, of course, but specifically if you are new to dating or you're just getting back into dating after a while, you've been taking a break, maybe you're in a long-term relationship and now you're finding yourself single again, where do you even start with this process? Where do you begin? All right, that is the topic of this Flirtini today. Hello and welcome. All right, first, I want us to start with mindset as we're getting right into it. And there's a few things, I've got 5 things here that I think is going to help you with your mindset as you start to work yourself back into dating. Wherever you may be, like I work with a lot of people and hear from a lot of you all where you're getting out of a relationship where you may have been in one for many years, decades even. You're dating perhaps online using the app for the first time ever, or maybe you've been single for a long time, perhaps by choice, perhaps by circumstance, perhaps there's been some fear, some anxiety, some hesitation there, and you may be in your 20s, 30s now, and just getting started, even 40s, dating for the first time, all good, all good. Your dating journey is right on time, and I'm here. It's all happening. I'm here to help. So, first things first, take all of the pressure off of yourself here. Something we can do when we start to date is just devote so much time, energy, and attention to this process. We put so much anticipation and pressure on each connection, on each match, on each date being the end all be all. Is this person the one? It's kind of mind blowing that we go into these situations. We go into a date, first time you're perhaps ever meeting someone in your entire life, first time you're seeing them face to face, meeting them in person for the first time, and you're thinking to yourself, is this the one? Is this the one? Is this my person? Take all the pressure off of yourself. And perhaps you know what I'm going to say here. Focus on the connection instead. Get to know them a little bit. Get to know yourself in the context of this new connection. What are some of those things you have in common? How are you feeling? Are they asking you questions? Right? How are they showing up for you even very early on? And just focus on a few things that you can learn, see how you feel, take all the pressure off of yourself that each match, each date is the one, right? It's start to relax and relieve yourself of that mentality and focus on the connection. Another thing with mindset that can help here is I know you've probably heard from some other dating coaches. Yeah, I mean, no right or wrong, but I'm going to disagree that it's not about quantity over quality. That if you like to find, your person, if you're dating because you want another long-term relationship, or even if you're just getting some experience, getting your feet wet in the dating process, feeling like you have to go on tons and tons of dates, that quite honestly is probably going to lead to burnout and exhaustion and frustration and overwhelm. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So rather than focusing on quantity, going on tons of dates, focus on quality. And you're not always going to know the quality of a date right away, but if you're doing things that you would like to enjoy, you're having some conversation first, perhaps on an app, or you're doing the pre-date phone call. I'll come back to that point in a moment, right? Just not feeling like you have to be going on dates all the time. Like you have to just sort of be meeting tons and tons of people to find the one, which in and of itself, I'm like, the one, I think there are many options for us that can be the one. And yes, you may have to kiss some frogs in the process, but you ain't got to kiss a lot. Mm-mm. Okay. Another part of mindset here is just getting some experience. This is going to be part of it. If you're having the anxiety, the fear, the hesitation, you're having some uncertainty, you're unsure of yourself. You're like, my gosh, how does all this work? Just get some of that experience, whether you're looking to meet people online or you're blending a strategy where you're also meeting people in person, just getting a few dates in your repertoire, seeing how that feels, seeing how the pacing of communication feels to you, just getting some experience, that alone is going to give you so much awareness for where you're at. If you're ready, no, you don't have to be fully ready to be ready. If you're waiting to be ready, you may not ever start, but it's also okay if you start getting some experience and you're like, "Ooh, actually, you know what? I think I'm not quite ready for this, or maybe I want to change some things up or work on my strategy a little bit, or I'm unsure what I'm looking for." That's okay, but some experience here will help just release yourself of some of those nerves, some of those anxieties, all the while you're not leading people on because you're going to be communicating through this process and getting practice with that as well. So a first date happens, a second date, and you just decide you're really not feeling it. You'll communicate that, and that will be part of this process of getting experience. Another thing here with mindset is to know that rejection is going to be a part of it. No one will be immune to rejection or heartbreak in dating. And know that you will be the one to sometimes reject others. If it's a connection you're just not feeling, or it's not working out, even if you've been on a few dates, you're not quite aligned, you don't have enough in common, you just don't necessarily like how you feel in that connection, or, they're displaying perhaps some red flags. This is ultimately going to be a part of the process, and it just is what it is. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you or that you're bad at dating or anything like that. Ultimately, this is, yes, a part of dating, moving you closer into alignment with connections that are going to be fulfilling, that are going to serve you, and that you will serve in return, right? Because that's a part of dating and relationships, that ultimately they are fulfilling, they're uplifting. And if that is not happening for you, yeah, you'll need to be open to finding those that are. Okay. And the other part is being the attractor in many ways. If you're coming from this place where you have wanted to be chosen, you're really seeking external validation in dating. See if you can place yourself in this energy of being the chooser, the attractor. And how you do this is by getting some experience, as we talked about a few moments ago, taking the pressure off of yourself and doing things that you would ultimately enjoy doing. So when you are going on some of those dates, could you suggest something you've always wanted to try? Is there a new restaurant or a new coffee shop? Could you maybe place yourself in a new class of some kind, exploring dance or creative writing or yoga or fitness, right? Doing things that you would like to do for yourself in your single life here that you enjoy and that are fun. And when you're in, you kind of tap into this energy of flow, right? Where you're there for you. And when you are able to be just authentic and take the pressure off yourself and not be in anyone's situation specifically for the purposes of dating, you would be surprised what opportunities can present themselves, what connections can present themselves, because you are then open to seeing them as opportunities. You're opening to having a conversation. You're open to catching a flirt. You're open to seeing where something could go without attaching to this end result, this expectation that this must lead to XYZ thing. This must lead to a date. This must lead to a relationship. And if it doesn't, then it was all for naught. Then all for naught, all for naught, all for naught. Then it was a failure, right? So part of being the attractor is being in this energy where you're experiencing fun and pleasure and desire. And all of that is going to serve you really well. So you're new to dating. We started off here, this flirtation. No, this is a flirtini talking about mindset, releasing yourself of the pressure, focusing on quality over quantity, getting some experience, knowing rejection is part of it, and being the attractor. All right, a few more tips coming up in this flirtini. All right, Flirty, a little bit more coming in this flirtini. I hope the mindset piece of this conversation was helpful. And now we're going to talk about strategy a little bit because, well, how are you going to meet people? How are you going to meet them, Flirty? How are you going to meet the people you're going to go on dates with? Okay, I am a fan of a hybrid strategy where you're meeting people in person and online. I find that if you have a mix here, it gives you more opportunities and more chances, right? Like that's going to be part of it. So let's focus a little bit more on this strategy. Online first. So sometimes I get the question, Benjamin, I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures for my dating apps. Okay. 'Cause I don't feel like I have any pictures I want you to pick one dating app to start with, test them out. Maybe they have a free trial of some of the paid features. All good. Take advantage of that. Pick one. Which one has the features you like? Which one does it seem like has quality matches for you to match with? And then ask a friend, be like, hey, we're going to the park one day or we're going out one night. I need you to take some pictures of me for my dating app. There you go, for my profile. And then when you're starting to make your profile, have your pictures be pretty much of you, a mix of pictures, a mix of profiles. They can be some selfies, all good. And then allow someone into your world a little bit while also maintaining your boundaries here. So, for instance, if you like coffee, fantastic. What kind of coffee? How do you like to drink it? Can you paint the picture of you waking up and you looking outside, or you're curling up with a blanket, or do you have a pet, a dog, a cat? Do you have a favorite mug? Is it a yoga mug like me? Oh, now I'm maybe talking about yoga a little bit. So sort of paint the picture of how you enjoy this thing, how you enjoy coffee. Give someone a little glimpse into your world, just your day-to-day life, without necessarily revealing deeply personal things about you. What you're doing is just allowing someone to see more about you, understand more about you, sort of visualize you a little bit, but in this very, I think, safe way that also honors your boundaries. Okay. If you're meeting people in person, say you're doing one of those classes, right? Being in your attractor energy, doing something for you, flirting a little bit with your eyes, making some eye contact. You see someone you want to chat with, doesn't matter if you're a guy, a girl, he, she, they, you can make the approach and just start a conversation and look to make that connection. Hey, I saw you from across the room. I really wanted to come over and introduce myself. My name is Benjamin. How you doing? Are you enjoying this class? Are you enjoying this concert? How's your day going? Right? And then releasing all the pressure from yourself, not being fearful of rejection. If it is just an in the moment flirt, all good. But these are some ways that you're going to be open to meeting people, a part of your strategy. And doubling back, circling back here in office speak to the pre-date phone call as sort of this intermediary step between meeting in person on an app and the first date. Of course, you can go right to the first date. But if you would like to exchange numbers, if you're on an app, you are perhaps exchanging WhatsApp, Google Voice, or if there's a phone feature within the app being like, hey, would you like to catch up on the phone before we meet? It's a vibe check. Can they hold a conversation? Right. And then from there, you can set the date. This was so amazing. Would love to continue this conversation in person. How about Friday night? Are you free Sunday morning? I'd love to go to brunch at this new place. Okay, so now you're starting to set up the date. And I want to come back here to the quality versus quantity piece here and give you some more context on that, as now we talk about how to start to screen people, if you will, knowing that you're not dating their potential, who they could be, who you feel like they should be. None of that. You have to date the person in front of you. And rather than dating their height, their looks, their money, their status, their car, whatever. I'm going to challenge you to focus. All that can be important to you, of course. You can have your standards there. I understand. But I also want you to date the person in front of you and how they make you feel. Are they able to be consistent? Are they able to show up? Are they able to hold space? Are they able to display vulnerability? Are they able to create some intimacy? Are they able to deepen a connection? This will happen over time, within even those first few dates. But this Flirtini is in many ways a companion to the first one. If you haven't listened to that, please do. But I want you to date how you feel and how this person is showing up. Are their words and actions in alignment? Are they matching? Dating how they make you feel and not ignoring those red flags. Final part of the Flirtini here is going to be around your boundaries. So, knowing how you need to manage your own time and energy, right? If someone is starting to breadcrumb you with the bare minimum, I want you to get very bored of the bare minimum. I want you to get turned off by the bare minimum, buy these red flags. Don't ignore your own intuition in this process. So, for example, if say you met someone on an app, you had a couple of dates, and now you feel they're starting to pull away a little bit, communication's getting less, they're perhaps making excuses, they're canceling dates and rescheduling, but not rescheduling. They're saying, oh, I'm free next week, but then not actually giving you specifics or following up. And now you feel like you're chasing. Perhaps now you're starting to feel some anxiety. Start to, again, release the pressure off yourself, focus on quality. This is not going to be a quality match for you, not a person to chase. Be the attractor, and then practice rejection here. This would be someone that you would be like, hey, I value consistency when I'm getting to know someone new. It's really important to me that we be able to go on dates, and I'm not feeling like you have the time, or I'm not feeling very secure. Maybe that's a word that fits here for you, or I'm not feeling very comfortable. Filling in the blanks here with how you're feeling, and then letting that go and moving on to the next connection, the next flirt, because there's always another flirt. So I really want you to practice your boundaries here as well, allowing your boundaries to also be your standards. So your standards here being how you want to be treated, how you want someone to show up for you, how you show up for them as well. It goes both ways. How you want to have communication take place. You don't need to be doing a ton of texting early on. I should mention that here. No, we're not doing all of that, but allowing your standards to be your boundaries, focusing on how you feel around them, how they're showing up for you versus sort of what they have or what they look like, or some of those qualifiers you may use to determine if someone is a match or dateable for you. All right. Yes, that was that. I'm going to conclude the Flirtini coming up next. Flirty, that's it. Flirtini number 2 is in the books. Yum, yum. Didn't that go down so refreshingly? As I said, I would keep these Flirtinis short, but you know what? I'm a yapper. I'm a yapper when it comes right down to it. And I just have so much to say because I just want to help. I want to help you in your dating lives and beyond, because how we show up in dating, how we show up for our relationships, how we show up for ourselves, and how we make connections is also how we live our lives. It's actually really, really important. So if this episode raised some questions for you, if you feel like I didn't cover something sufficiently, please leave a comment here. You can do that on Spotify, you can do that on YouTube, or simply reach out to me on Flirtstagram, Flirt Talk, or FlirtTube. That's Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. If there's a video I can make that could be helpful in explaining some of these concepts more, or develop another Flirtini, which many more of those are coming, or an episode of Flirtations, I'm happy to do that. All right, bye. Bye. Signing off now. Gotta go. Please rate, review, subscribe, share this episode with a friend. Yeah, I'm trying to get famous, y'all. Okay. Very not bashful about that anymore. So I would love for you to share this episode. Let me know how you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all very soon in the next episode of Flirtinis or Flirtations. Okay, flirty. Happy flirting.